views on the design feature and the Kestis Sky.
Yeah. So I'll take from what Ranjan was saying. See, the greatest thing which helped us in expediting the time or crashing the time from design to prototype getting certified has been that we froze the design for the helicopters very early. That became a guiding point. And then what General said, we also had a team within the R&D embedded, which was doing this job, that okay, we'll go. We also froze the power plant. We knew this is the power plant we are going to use. If you do these three things, and of course you have the experience of making Chetak and Cheetah, you are on a faster mode. That is one thing which made it happen very fast. It may not happen in all cases, but now there's also, I would say, defense aerospace ecosystem which has developed outside the HAL. That also helped in the process, because when the LCA design went on board, we were very nascent. There was nothing outside. So all that being there, if we are comparing the two aircraft, the CAR 226T and LUH from HAL, the first thing which comes to our notice that it has got a coaxial rotor. Means both the rotors are on the main. There's no tail rotor here. If there's no tail rotor here, you talk about the stability in the mountainous range or over the sea, it is considered to be better. That is what one of the very important features which has come in. And also, both the aircraft have full authority digital engine control. Both the aircraft have glass cockpit. And LUH is also supposed to be having what they say as smart cockpit display system. Everything is smart these days, so cockpit display system is also smart. And Camo has another feature. Of course, they are all competing. It has a modular design for the mission kind of role. I'm going for casualty evacuation, I can put my module inside. I'm going for medical thing, I can put my module inside. I'm going for some other role, recce or surveillance, I can put my module. Transportation and the module. So it becomes modular. That means switching between the roles for the light utility helicopter will be really fast and good. This is one of the features, which in this case is not very cumbersome, because you normally assign roles to the helicopters, that General must be knowing, and you keep them ready for that, and you know what roles are coming up. So it would not be a great kind of thing, but yeah, it gives some flexibility. Since you asked us to compare, so we just happen to compare. But what thing which really comes out, that this helicopter has been tested for civil certification 2. Civil certification 2, and the first flight which it took in 2016 was for civil certification. So because of that, if it gets certified for civil and gets certified for military, the market size is very huge.
That brings me to Sudhi again on the same point, the cue which Shrivastava is giving. As in, it's certification both for military purposes and civil purposes. That gives a boost to that, when we always talk about the aerospace ecosystem and giving a boost to the defense production within the country. So that would be a big boost.
It will be a huge boost. In fact, all military technology, so to say, has civilian spin-offs. And that is why you see countries that excel in defense manufacturing generally have a very strong industrial base, and they end up exporting rather than importing stuff. And that is a great point about trying to catch up with military production, manufacturing and defense. Just to pick up from what the General and the AVM has been saying, the huge requirement in the civil side. I mean, as of today, all the civilian helicopters that are flying, and quite a few, they're all bought from outside. Now, once this gets, carrying 7 passengers, it's sky is the limit, the numbers you can sell. So I think it's a great jump forward that way. It's a leapfrog forward.
General Pawar, you were earlier talking about how the HAL is also developing LCH, and this design has been frozen for LCH and LUH both, and the ALH has already been given to the army, some units. The CAR 226T also, the HAL comes into picture. So with all these platforms, how do you see things moving from here onwards?
See, HAL is a very strong and robust helicopter division and R&D. And with their having moved these helicopter production line to Tumkur, which is totally away from the rest of the work is going on, which will be purely production facilities for these two types of helicopters. And I think the HAL chairman is very confident that he'll be able to make targets. But my own personal thing is, any helicopter, when it comes new, there is a period when it takes time to stabilize. It is like the ALH, because Army was the first to induct it. And I know very much myself that it took us about 4 to 5 years till the helicopter got stabilized. And now, of course, ALH is one of the, I feel, the state-of-art helicopters that we've got in our armed forces, and it is also civil certified. So, I personally feel, this for civil market,
Okay.
which what he
Yeah,
spoke
Sudhi was
of.
pointing out, yeah.
I want to add, in presently, our civil market helicopter holdings are going down. There are a lot of issues, and this is not the forum for me to discuss that. Once we have availability of a state-of-art helicopter, which can be inducted right from here, I don't have to import it from outside, half the problems are solved.
So most of the issues there will also be solved.
Most of the issues get resolved.
Okay.
Okay. Then their maintenance, their MRO, other facilities, everything is available here. I don't have to, earlier people were flying it all the way to US or to Europe to get them the MROs being done and go for training there. Everything will be available here, which is a big boost, which will be a big boost for the civil.
Okay. A.V. Srivastava, on the way ahead from here onwards and that civilian aspect also.
So way ahead from here onwards, making a prototype and making it successful, getting a certification is one issue. But doing the serial production and doing post deployment or post sales service and giving full cover of spares, full cover of MRO, full cover of maintenance in between is another issue. So what I'll advise, if anyone from HAL is viewing this program, that they have to set up that facility while they are manufacturing.
Okay.
There's a basic problem which we have found from induction to maturity. Like General said, it took 4 years for the aircraft, helicopter to mature, to actually perform in the combat kind of zone. And that will happen for the civil also. So basically, do we have those numbers of supplies available? Do I have the vendors available here? Or I have to source it from outside? Whatever may be the mechanism that needs to be seen today and handled today. When I say today, it means today, right now, when you are taking a certification. Because it takes time. We have seen it takes a lot of time for ecosystem, for post-sales and post-deployment to develop and be available readily, and so that we are ready for doing the job.
Okay.
So that will be my advice, and this is very important. This must be tackled.
Okay. General, your views on that before I go to Sudhi, as in, AVM's advice to the HAL or the other manufacturers to ensure that the gap is managed.
This couldn't have been a better advice to be given to HAL, because ultimately, I remember the case of ALH. We had to tell HAL, please position your team in Nasik, where the helicopter, this first unit was being raised, so that day-to-day issues are getting resolved.
Okay.
Also, they must cater for spares. They must cater for the spares as the helicopters, because what happens initially, the requirement of spares is much more, because some of them fail at a much more faster rate because it's still stabilizing. And therefore, I think that advice what he's giving it is the same advice I think HAL should have learned their lessons from ALH, and will make sure that proper in support for this product when it comes into service and its operational initial years in the operation is given and provided. Sector wise, it can't be sitting in Bangalore and say I'll provide for what operations are going in Nagaland and Manipur or in Arunachal Pradesh and this thing. Whichever units are operating there, they must have the hub in the eastern sector somewhere from where they can provide. They have got in Calcutta. Maybe they have to move it further ahead. So there is no doubt that this is what is the requirement for successful induction and subsequently to be in service.
Okay, to be in service and successfully operationalize the entire fleet as well. Sudhi, your final words before we bring this episode to an end.
Number one, it's a great achievement. HAL has been much blamed, and for reasons that is there, we know all that. But, we are seeing a turnaround that is happening, and that is a huge thing. That we are witnessing there. Perhaps we can say that we are witnessing history. To design, develop a helicopter, and as both of them being pilots will tell the viewers that, designing, developing and then flying a something in the air, it's much more difficult. It's much more dangerous than just designing a warship and letting it float. Because here you're talking about lives. Anything goes wrong, somebody dies. So we are perhaps witnessing history. And I think HAL, after whatever it has gone through, it's moving around and it's a great future ahead.
Okay, so there it is, as our panelists have pointed out, that the design, indigenously designing and developing the light utility helicopter is definitely an important milestone in India's defense manufacturing, but we will have to go one step further, ensure that all coordinations are done perfectly and we can keep up the pace in terms of other platforms as well. We'll come back again next week with a different topic and different set of guests. Till then, keep watching Rajya Sabha Television.